All right, guys, welcome to Forging Futures. Today is our 6th episode. We're talking with Jordan. He's a super awesome dude. Stick around, we've got a lot coming. Welcome to our show.
All right, so cool. Like David was saying, we got Jordan today. Jordan and I actually, funny story how we met. I was actually flying out to an event, a sales conference for Brad Lee, and on the plane ride, I was watching a video of his podcast, and then just walking through the airport, Jordan taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, dude, are you going to the Brad Lee event?" And I was like, "Yeah, are you? No way, this is crazy," because we're both from Boise. And yeah, we just kicked it off there. We met up at the event, shared numbers, and here we are.
Yeah.
Awesome, so yeah, man. We had the opportunity to talk a bit. Yeah, so you're doing life insurance right now? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, sir. Yeah, financial services, life insurance, retirement, investments.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, mainly investments in the form of life insurance.
Yeah. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about that. Do you want to kind of tell everyone how you got into that?
Yeah, so I was introduced to a guy, how long ago? A couple years ago, who did basically the same thing that I'm doing now. And he explained it to me, and it blew my mind. I mean, it was like I had never heard of anything like it before. And he talked me into dumping a bunch of money in there. After going through the process and seeing what that's going to do for my future and my retirement, and how I can use it even before retirement age, I was sold. I was hooked on it, man. So I decided to get my license. Got my license just a few weeks later, and decided I wanted to help other people do the same thing. So I market mainly towards sales professionals and business owners. It works really well for the entrepreneurial type.
Yeah, and getting them set up on your program. Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long ago was that?
Man, I started probably a year ago, sort of like dabbling with it, you know what I mean? Selling a policy here and there. Just a few months ago, I got a little deeper into it, started increasing my production a little bit. But I was still working a 9-to-5 job, and I couldn't really expand it that much. So I was doing as much as I could.
Yeah. What made you want to go to the Brad Lee event?
Dude, sales is king, man. It's just if you could choose one skill to have, I think, as an entrepreneur, and there's lots, but I think that sales and persuasion is probably at the top for me.
Yeah.
So that's a skill that I'm always trying to improve, is sales. So I saw that event and love Vegas. Obviously, love to go spend a few days in Vegas too.
To go.
Exactly. So figured I'd jump on and check it out, and it was a solid event. It was killer.
Yeah. Did it pay off?
Absolutely, it did.
I think so too.
For sure.
That connection of me and you came from that, right?
Yes, exactly.
And that's just one of them.
If that was all I got out of it, dude, it was worth it.
Dude, $500 event and
Yeah.
then a $250 ticket. Like,
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly.
I definitely recommend those. But you're not the first person to say that sales is one of the most important skills to have.
It's huge. It's big.
Yeah. We talk about sales all the time, so we're definitely on the same page there. So just a year ago, that's pretty new.
Yeah, pretty new.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we had in common is a construction background.
Yes.
So do you want to talk about how you kind of switched from doing construction, from having a steady job to kind of taking the leap into
Yeah.
your own deal?
Yeah, I will. So my background actually starts in sales. So right out of high school, I jumped into door-to-door sales. Awesome experience, man. For young guys out there, it's a really good experience to get out there and learn how to sell, how to talk to people, how to take rejection, how to work your butt off. I think it's an awesome opportunity for anybody who hasn't done it. Yeah. So I jumped into sales. I did that for 10 years. Traveled to a new city every year. That was kind of the fun part of it for me. I loved seeing new places. So I did that for a while until I got married and had a kid, and then it got harder to move around. So I have some family members in the construction industry, and decided to give that a shot. Jumped into construction as a superintendent. Actually loved it. It was awesome. I enjoyed the freedom of the schedule and being in charge of the project, and I just really enjoyed it. Did that for 6 years, and kind of got bored of it a little bit. I wanted a little bit more in life, so I walked away from my construction job as a superintendent with the intention of starting a business.
All right, guys, just real quick. I'm editing this video right now, and one of our camera angles failed, so we just have one angle. So bear with us. Let's continue.
We were talking about this before the show started, but I walked away from it, and I wasn't 100% committed to my dream.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't burn the boats, as they say. You know, Cortez burned the boats, right? I didn't burn the boats, and an offer came along from a very large, well-known builder here in the Valley. And I got an offer to be the multifamily construction manager for this company. It was a pay increase. I wanted to get into multifamily a little bit because I am getting into multifamily investing.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be a good opportunity to get in and learn about that area of construction too.
So you left once to do your own thing, and then did that for a little bit, and then got the offer and jumped back into the comfort.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Just for the reasons of learning a little bit more about multifamily.
yeah, but I think that was just an excuse, honestly.
Ooh.
You know, I think it
Keeping
was.
it real.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I walked away from the comfort of my job, and I started to feel, you know, it's
On your
scary.
own? Yeah.
It's scary. There's a ton of pressure, right? I mean, I've got a wife and kids, and so it was hard to walk away from that. An offer came along, 6-figure job, and I took it. So I had that job for about 3 months, and I realized, dude, this is not what I want to be doing. I mean, it's a great job. It's a job that a lot of people would be grateful to have, right? I was working side by side with the CEO and owner. Really good experience, but just not what I wanted. There was a reason I walked away from my job, 5 months earlier. So I started making plans to walk away. And I set the date out to be like December of 2023 of this year, right? And then it moved up to April, and then it moved up to March.
That's
and
crazy.
And then one day I was just like, dude, I can't do it anymore. I'm not happy here. I was given 12 hours of my day every day to build somebody else's dream.
What were the notifications like telling you that you're not happy doing it?
A big thing was time, right? It was taking up all day, every day. I mean, completely time consuming. I would leave before my daughters woke up. I would come home an hour before they went to bed. I wasn't getting time with my family. I didn't have time or energy to put into my businesses that I had started previously, right?
Yeah.
And so there was lots of red flags popping up, and until it finally just got to the point where I said, dude, I gotta walk away. I wasn't 100% ready. I had an idea of where I wanted to go. I didn't have a perfect plan set up, but I knew that I just had to walk away.
Yeah, I think that taking that leap, everybody waits for the perfect time, and that's a utopia. There's nothing like
never
that.
comes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Never comes.
So, yeah, but taking the leap, it is hard, and I think that just like you, being able to go out on your own, that's a huge risk because there's no parachute, there's nothing holding you, it's you and you alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. Well, good on you.
Yeah. No, it's and so far it's 100% worth it, man. I mean, I still feel an immense amount of pressure every day.
I bet.
Right? But it beats somebody else controlling my time and my income.
Nice. Yeah.
Every time.
That's awesome.
So it wasn't an issue with you not being willing to sacrifice the time, but it was you not wanting to sacrifice the time for someone else when you could be sacrificing it for yourself.
Yeah, and the truth is, dude, I'm still putting in 12-hour days. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But
it's different.
But it's for me.
Yeah.
It's not for somebody else.
100%.
Nice. Yeah. Are you enjoying it so far?
Man, I am loving it.
Yeah.
I am loving it.
Yeah.
Just the thrill of it, you know what I mean? Like waking up, like, dude, I got to make money today, you know what I mean? Or else my family's not going to eat. Yeah. So there's that, kind of thrill of it. And just the freedom, man. I had a buddy that was launching a business in Vegas last week. And he asked me to come out and help launch. And it's like, yeah, dude,
Nice.
I'm not tied down to anything.
Yeah.
I'll come out. And
Don't
so
have to check in with your boss.
Exactly, dude. Didn't have to, ask for my time off, right?
Yeah.
So ended up going to Vegas and helping him launch a business and made some really good connections down there. Ended up making some money while I was there. And it's awesome. And then in 2 weeks, I'm flying out to Orlando for a week for an investor summit out there. And dude, it's just to have control of my time again it means more than anything, man.
I bet. Yeah.
How old are you?
35.
35.
Yeah.
Nice.
I heard that's the prime age of a man's life.
Dude, yeah, I think it is. And I found myself still working a job that I didn't want to be at. And I was like, dude, I've reached that age. Like, it's kind of like you said, that perfect time never comes, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, if I don't do it now, when will it? When will it happen? So.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's going out to, did you say Florida, Georgia?
Yeah, I'm going out to Orlando.
Orlando. Okay, so yeah, that's probably not an opportunity you would have had otherwise, right?
Absolutely not, especially just spending a week in Vegas, right?
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, making those connections and carving your own path, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice. So with life insurance, you got into it because you really enjoyed it and you thought that it was something you wanted to be a part of, right?
It is. So I'll tell you a little bit about the strategy that we use. So there are 3 kind of mainstream vehicles for investing that people use that are the most common. There's the stock market, there's real estate, and there's cash value life insurance. So all 3 of those things have good sides and bad sides, right? So the bad thing of all 3 of them is the stock market. The bad side of that is volatility, right? It goes up, it goes down. I mean, right now we're in a recession, right?
Yeah.
The stock market is tanking. Real estate, the downside to that is it typically takes a lot of time, money, and knowledge. You kind of have to know what you're doing to get into real estate, right? The downside of cash value life insurance is that it's slow. I mean, it's steady, right? Which is why it's a good investment, but it's slow. So we use what we call the NPI strategy, and it gets rid of all 3 of those downsides and factors in the upsides to each of those. So the upside of the stock market is the possibility of growth, right? Huge possibility of growth in the stock market. Real estate, leveraging OPM, other people's money, right? And then cash value life insurance, the upside of that is security. So what our strategy does is it takes those 3 things and puts it into one investment vehicle.
Okay.
Really, really incredible stuff.
Wow, that's interesting. Is there like the same tax advantages with that versus as like real estate in the stock market?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. So, so I have the 3. You guys will figure out that like I love the number 3. So, my company is called Trifecta Capital.
Nice.
Okay, so there's so many things where it's just like 3 is the magic number, but the trifecta of wealth building is business ownership, real estate, and life insurance, right? If you can have those 3 things, dude, you're set for life. Where was I going with that? What was your question?
Taxes?
Taxes.
Advantages?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, huge tax advantages. Real estate, I'm a big fan of. Like I said, I've gotten into multifamily real estate. Big tax advantages there. When you compare cash value life insurance to other retirement vehicles, like the 401k or the IRA, Roth IRA, right? Any of those, you're going to get massive tax advantages.
Nice.
Your money grows tax-free, and then when you take it out, legally, you can't be taxed on that money because it's a life insurance policy.
Okay.
Do you get a return on it?
Oh, yeah. Yes. So basically what you want to do with a cash value life insurance policy is you want to have it properly funded, properly structured, and properly managed. See, there's my 3 again, right? Funded, structured, and managed are the 3 things. So when you set it up the right way, you want to max fund that thing. You want to dump as much money
Yeah, that's what you were talking about.
as you can into it, because that money will grow. Basically what that money does is it goes into an index fund.
Okay.
Right. And so you'll get that growth, the same growth that you would get from a 401k or an IRA, That's 6 to 8%, right? But you have the tax advantages and you have protection against market volatility.
Interesting.
The biggest benefit is like borrowing against it, right?
Yes. So that's another thing. So once you build up that cash value, what you can actually do is go in and you borrow against your cash value.
Okay.
So you don't take anything out of your policy, right? You keep that money in there and it continues to grow, and then you borrow against it.
Like equity,
Right.
basically.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
we call it a relock, right? It's like a HELOC for a home, but with retirement. So it's a relock. Okay, so you borrow against that cash value, and you can do whatever you want with it. Some people will take that and start a new business with it. What a lot of people do is they'll borrow against that cash value and buy real estate. I think that's a great option.
Is that what you've done?
That's what I've done. I do two things. So I do real estate. Another option is if you're not super knowledgeable in the real estate field, another thing you can do, and this is, as far as I know, MPI, the company that I'm with, and then I know one other one that does this. It's a strategy that we use, and we'll borrow against that cash value. And instead of going and putting it somewhere else, we actually dump it back into the policy. So now if you've got $500,000 growing and you're getting 6 to 8% of that, then you'll borrow against it, the 500,000, dump it back into the policy, and now you've got $1 million growing interest for you.
This
So
is where I
it's-
get confused.
So you're leveraging your debt basically at that point.
You're leveraging your debt. You're leveraging other people's money, right?
Wow.
Because you borrow against your policy, but you're borrowing it from the insurance company. So it's their money, but it's sitting in your account, and you're earning interest off of.
But don't you have to make payments towards that?
You do, yeah. So you'll make a spread though. So you borrow that money super cheap, like 3 to 4% is what you'll pay them. So you're paying 3 to 4%, but you dump it back into your policy, and you've got $1 million making 6 to 8%, right? So you're making 6 to 8% off of your original 500,000, and then you dump in the other 500,000 that's borrowed, and you're making 6 to 8% minus 3 to 4% that you're paying them, right? So whatever that is, an extra 4%,
Yeah.
right? So now you're making, instead of 6 to 8%, you're making 9 to 12%.
Yeah.
So that's how you can really, and if you know anything about investments, an 8% return is like solid, right? It's good. This is one of the only places where you can surpass that 8% and get up to 12, even 15%, but still be protected from market volatility and taxes.
So is it like 100% protection, or is just less of a curve with the volatility?
Yeah, so what they do actually is we have a 0% floor.
Okay.
With IUL policies and even whole policies. Whole life is good too. I prefer IUL.
What's that stand for?
Index Universal Life. I prefer that one. It's a little bit better. There's greater opportunity for growth than there is with a whole. They're both good. I have both. I own both. I own a whole life policy and an IUL. They both have their benefits, but if I had to choose one, I would definitely choose the IUL. So basically, how they're able to do that, they'll give you a 0% floor, so when the market dips, you stop at 0.
Okay.
So you don't lose anything.
Interesting.
The reason they're able to do that is because they'll put 12% cap, usually a 12% cap on what you can grow.
Okay.
Okay. So that way they cover your losses, and then when you go above that 11 to 12%, they pocket that extra.
The gains. Okay. That's
That makes
interesting.
sense. So,
Yeah.
so in a down market like we have right now, when everybody else's retirements, the 401ks, IRAs, those are tanking, right? Those are dropping way down. Now they're going to come back up. The market always comes back up. But here's your IUL policy. It stops at the 0% floor. The IRAs and 401ks, everything else drops down here. When the market goes up, you've already started ahead of everybody else.
That's
That
interesting.
makes sense.
Yeah. So then when you cash out, is it taxed like a, I don't know what the word is, but is it taxed like cashing out of a stock, selling your stock, a capital gains tax, or
No tax.
really?
No tax. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
interesting.
Yep. Not taxed on life insurance policies.
Wow. Even at any age, even
Correct.
after, really?
Yeah, and
Wow.
that's the other cool thing about it is it's liquid, right? So you start it, and you want to let it grow for 3 to 7 years, depending on how much you're putting in, just to build that cash value. You don't want to pull from it too early. But man, once that policy matures, you can pull from it at any time. You can borrow against it at any time after the first 3 years. If you're saving enough and dumping in enough that you want to retire at age 45, which you can get there quicker using this than you can a 401k or an IRA, right? If you, at age 45, if you're ready to cash out, no penalties.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. So you said it's an index fund. Is it, I guess, are you guys investing other people's money in index funds, or what are you investing it in that makes it grow?
Yeah, so it's just the cash value.
Okay. Oh,
right?
I see.
So you're paying for a policy. So there's a couple of little fees that are front loaded. And then there's obviously the cost of life insurance. So what you want to do is buy the least amount of life insurance for the highest amount possible.
Okay.
So that you're paying for your life insurance with this little piece right here. The rest is just dumping into your cash value.
Okay.
That amount there is put into an index fund and it's going to grow.
Yeah, my idea of life insurance before talking with you and learning how many people are getting into it was you pay a monthly payment, and then if you die, your family gets a whole bunch of money.
Yes.
That's all I figured life insurance was. I had no
Same.
idea how intricate it was.
And that's about 97% of America. Dude. That's their understanding of life insurance. But even, cash value life insurance is not a new thing, right? But even that is not using it to its full benefits, right? It's not used to its maximum power until you start borrowing against your own cash value and taking it elsewhere, so your money's working in two different places, or dumping it back in to multiply your rate of return.
That makes sense.
And very few people are doing that.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess if you know that, it seems obvious, but at the same time, probably a lot of people don't know that.
That's the thing, dude. That not a lot of people know that. And that's one of the reasons why I really felt a big desire to go after this. Because it's something that not a ton of people know about. It used to be mainly for the super rich, basically, and large companies and banks. So banks, I just read an article a little while ago that there is $200 billion in bank-owned life insurance right now.
200 billion?
$200 billion.
Wow.
So that's where banks are putting their money, is in life insurance policies, because it's safe, it's got a good rate of return. But we've now figured out a way to make it accessible to the average person. It's not for everybody. I mean, if you don't make very much money and you could only put in $50 a month, you're not really going to go anywhere with it. So basically a good rule of thumb is you take your age. Brian, how old are you?
22.
22. So you take your age, you multiply it by 10, and that's the minimum amount that you would need to start putting into your account. So you would need to put $220 a month into your account, right? So not everybody can afford $220 a month. I think a lot more people can than they think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to set aside an extra $220 when you cut out fast food and all your other expenses, right?
Yeah.
I feel
Couple
like
subscriptions.
Exactly. I feel like most people could find $220 in their budget, but most people don't. Right.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. So what, the process to get licensed and everything, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, to get licensed, I took a few courses. I think it took me 4 weeks. Then you have to take a state exam, pass that. From there, once you're licensed in one state, they have a way, if you're selling nationwide, that you can get licensed in other states with just a small fee.
Wow.
Which is kind of cool. It makes it easier, so I can sell across the country.
Nice. Is it a small fee per state or just
Per state.
Oh yeah.
Per state.
Wow,
Yep.
that's nice. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's probably the same whether you're in any state. So
Yeah.
yeah.
How have you been meeting a lot of your clients? Are you doing any marketing for yourself, or?
Yeah, so I'm kind of starting to expand that now. When I started out, it was just word of mouth, talking with acquaintances, friends, family, that kind of thing. I'm starting to branch out a little bit more. I've jumped into a little bit of lead gen, paying for leads. Actually just started that today, and it's going surprisingly well, actually.
Nice.
That's where those excuse me, that's where those sales skills come in, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
So
How to convert.
just cold calling leads today and got a couple to bite on it. It was really good. So doing that, and then my brother is really big into ClickFunnels. He's a huge ClickFunnels guy. I don't know how familiar you guys are with.
Yeah, I got their pamphlet or their
Do you got
whole
it?
book.
Okay,
thing
cool.
right there,
Yeah. Do you know Russell?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, not personally.
Okay.
If you do, I'd love to meet you.
I know him personally. Yeah.
Oh, you got to make me that introduction.
Yes, I'll do my best. Yeah, he
Nice.
grew up right here in Boise.
Yeah.
Russell's a super good guy. So my brother's real big into ClickFunnels, so he's building me a funnel right now
Right
to try to bring some more leads in.
Nice.
So
Nice.
working on 2 or 3 different things to really start that. The other thing is TikTok. It's big. TikTok a few weeks ago was trending. Life insurance was trending on TikTok a few weeks
way.
ago,
Right on.
which blew me away. But it really shows that there's an interest, especially with the younger generation. They're starting to think about money and finances and retirement.
Yeah.
A lot of them are seeing their parents retire with the traditional, retirement, and they're retiring with $1 million, which 60 years ago was a ton. $1 million doesn't cut it today.
Yeah.
That's not good enough for retirement today. You're going to be living off of about $40,000 a year, and that's not a good way to spend your golden years. Right?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, 40,000 a year is practically minimum wage now.
It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. So I think a lot of the younger generation are seeing their parents retire, and their parents are not in a good place. So I think they're looking for different answers.
Nice. Yeah, I was just watching a report by, I guess it was a video by Ray Dalio. He was saying that our generation, the millennials, I guess, is going to be the first generation that it'll be impossible for them to save their way to retirement. And
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah, things
That's
are
interesting.
really changing. Yeah. Yeah. What were you going to say?
I was going to ask who would be the ideal person to get set up on the policy?
The ideal person, like I mentioned before, is sales professionals and business owners. Those are the two that I market to heavily.
Does age play a factor in it?
Age does play a factor in it, yeah. So that is one of the few downsides of it. It is a life insurance policy, so you do have to be in decent health, right? You have to have okay health. If you don't, if your health isn't great, you can still get a policy, but it's going to be a little bit more expensive, which is going to pull a little bit from your cash value. So age does play a part in it. So young entrepreneurial type sales professionals and business owners, this is perfect for those people because they're financially minded. They're thinking about the future as well as today. They're typically making pretty decent money, and they're putting their money in places where it's going to grow. So that target market, that target audience is what I'm marketing to.
Nice. I have a question. This is, if you're a pilot, can you get a life insurance policy? I've heard that you can't.
That's a good question, and actually, I don't know if I know the answer to that.
Oh, yeah.
I know on your life insurance application, they ask you questions like that.
Oh, yeah.
If you fly frequently, if you take
crazy.
if you take part in extreme sports, those things will affect it. I don't know if it will.
It makes sense.
I don't know if it'll prevent you from getting a policy, but there may be a limit on how much of a face value you can take out, and it may be a more expensive policy.
Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've got 2 friends who are pilots, and I'm working on my pilot's license.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, and I know this guy. He was pitched to when he was in his 20s about life insurance, and he said, "Well, I'm a pilot," and the guy packed up his bags and left.
He was out.
Yeah.
He was out.
So
I think it makes it harder to
yeah.
get a good policy.
That's interesting.
So I would suggest getting one now
Yeah.
before you're a pilot.
So say I did get one now and I became a pilot, I would still be eligible? Or interesting.
I had a question. So you said, 10 times your age is what your monthly payment should be towards it, but you also talked about the more money you can put into it, the quicker you can.
Yes.
You have a bigger benefit.
Yes.
So what if you did more than 10 times your age?
You should. You absolutely should. That 10 times your age is a minimum.
Where does it take you if you do more?
It just blows it up.
It just takes you to your goals quicker.
Yeah. It's just that compound interest, man. The eighth wonder of the world, right? Compound interest is if you know how to use it and you take advantage of it, you're going to be well off. So the 10 times your age is an absolute minimum.
Just a minimum. Gotcha.
Yep. I suggest going way more than that.
Yeah.
And actually, what a lot of people do, what I did was you dump in a lump sum to begin with, $50, $100, $150,000 lump sum to really kickstart it. And then your cash value to start with is really big. And then do 20 or 30 times your age, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, dump as much as you can into it.
So is there like an average year over year earnings that it gets? I mean,
Yeah, so we see anywhere from 9 to 15%
Really?
On a matured policy.
wow. Yeah, that's pretty good if it's
Really good.
constant like that.
Yep.
Wow. Even right now, it's doing pretty well.
Yes. Yeah. So it's doing okay right now. When the market dips, you're not going to be gaining a whole lot, but the big thing is you're not losing any.
Yeah.
While everybody else is.
Yeah. And if you're not losing in a losing market, then you are gaining basically.
Then you're winning.
Yeah. Makes
Exactly.
sense.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's really interesting to learn about life insurance because I literally don't know anything about it. I've heard that there's big tax breaks and big benefits, and that I actually have heard that you can take it out and against other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I guess so we talked about that side of things, and then when you do die, is it the family just gets the whole amount, or how does that work?
Yeah, so whatever's left when you do die. So if you die before retirement, they get the death benefit, the face amount,
Okay.
plus your cash value, right? So if you die after after retirement age, which that's the cool thing is once you hit retirement age and you start drawing from it, it doesn't stop growing.
Really?
Right? The cash value stays in there and you're pulling a little bit from it here and there,
Okay.
but it's still growing. So like the cash value amount that you have at age 59 and a half when you retire, maybe, 3 million, maybe you die 20 years later when you're 80 and it'll be up to 6 million. Right? So it continues to grow and compound. So either way, before retirement or after retirement, your family is going to get a really good chunk of money because
Wow.
they'll get the death benefit and your cash value.
Interesting. So companies, they can I don't know a whole lot about retirement stuff. And so I guess a company, they usually have, 401k opportunities for the employees, right?
Yes.
Or a self-employed option like Winco. But for life insurance, is there anything like that? Or are you just on your own pretty much?
Yeah, you can, companies can provide life insurance policies for their employees.
Okay.
We also provide it for businesses themselves, for business owners and for businesses. So, like I said earlier, banks, right? They use a ton of life insurance. Other big companies use life insurance policies just as a place to put and grow their cash.
Is that structured differently, like residential property versus commercial property?
It is. It's structured slightly differently, but it's the same concept. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So basically they just use it as a savings in a way.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, way
Just a
better savings.
Supercharged
Yeah.
savings.
No
Supercharged savings.
I'd definitely rather have that than getting money taken out for a retirement, the 401k.
Yeah, and it the 401k is all right, especially if you have an employer that will do a match. That's a decent way to go. It's not going to come close to a properly funded and structured life insurance policy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We talked about multifamily a little bit. What
Yeah.
kind of got you into that?
So that just kind of came about from my trifecta of wealth building, right? So business ownership, I had that box checked off.
Real estate.
My life insurance, I had that box checked, and I didn't have any real estate. So I really wanted to complete my trifecta there. And so dove into multifamily real estate investing. It's actually through a syndication model. I don't know if you guys are familiar with syndication. It's basically when you find a deal and you put it together, you bring in all the people, and you find and execute the deal, and you get your fee from that. So it's a really good way. Earlier I mentioned one of the downsides to real estate was that it takes
Knowledge.
and money. Through the syndication model,
You don't need that.
you need some knowledge, right? But not a ton because you are bringing a team that does it for you basically. and you're pulling in other people's money. You're pulling in investors' money. So that is, syndication is a way around that to dive into the real estate game without having a ton of knowledge and a ton of money.
That's pretty cool. So from that, you got your job with the builder here in locally. Nice. That's pretty cool. So you said that you just jumped in as the superintendent. How did that happen?
I did. So yeah, I guess that's where my sales skills came in. I kind of sold my way into that job, right? Nice. So typically a superintendent, you're required to have a degree in construction management and usually 4 to 5 years of experience as a tradesman.
Which you had, right?
No. I did not.
I didn't know this.
I had 0 experience, 0 education.
Nice.
Kind of sold
but
my
new sales.
sold my way into that. I just sold myself to the guy.
That's crazy.
And he went for it.
Wow.
And turned out really good. I actually loved it. I felt like I was really good at it. It was a good job for a while. It's just time to move on.
Cool. So how old were you when you started investing in real estate and life insurance and all that?
So this is all within like the last year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really recent.
That's pretty cool.
Just kind of, figuring out all the different ways and places to invest and diving into education, reading books, courses, just trying to figure out, the best places to put my money.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's been a fun journey.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So how long have you been in sales then prior?
So I was in sales for 10 years.
10 years.
Yep. Wow. And then kind of took a break, for construction and now hopping right back into the sales game. And I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you got to have sales skills, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
You sell every day, whether you're selling a product, a service, or your business or yourself, right? So back in the sales game.
Nice. Have you ever done any marketing before, or is this kind of your first run at it?
Yeah, it's kind of my first run at it.
Nice.
Yeah, it is.
Right on. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it seems like the world of marketing is massive.
It's huge. It's huge. It can be overwhelming, man.
I bet.
It's that's where my partners and I are kind of on this kick right now of who, not how. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but just the idea of teaming up with people, finding mentors, finding partners that can make up for the areas that you lack in. Right. So that's huge when you're starting out. In the entrepreneurial game or owning a business, whatever, think about not just how, but think about who can help you get there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that, I don't know, just from looking, observing the business world, a lot of people collaborate and they have these phenomenal connections. Yeah, and we can't be good at everything.
No, you can't.
But somebody else is good at what we're not good at, and making those connections is super crucial. So.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's a big part of why I'm going to Orlando next week to network, meet partners, and you should, in my opinion, you should never be the smartest guy in the room, right?
Yeah.
You should surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and can get things done better than you, because that's what's going to take you to the top.
Yeah, words of wisdom right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I got one more question for you. What's been the most challenging thing starting your own business? Was it leaving your company, knowing what to do, or what? What was it?
That's a really good question. The most challenging thing, gosh, honestly, I think it's just mindset.
Mindset?
Keep in the mindset, man. It's so easy to, get scared and start thinking about the comforts of a job. So it's just mindset.
Nice.
You wake up every day and you just got to grind to make it happen. And sometimes you're like, man, it was easier when I was just going to work for somebody. And so it's easier doesn't equal happier, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would say mindset has been the hardest thing. You got to get your mindset right.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, our mind is what controls everything else. So,
It is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's huge.
Nice. That's awesome. Good deal.
That's a good way to end it. Well, thanks again for coming.
Yeah,
I
thank you, guys.
think everyone's going to learn a lot from this. I certainly did. Did you?
Same. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, biggest thing too, I'm excited to see where we're at in a couple of years.
Me
That's
too.
the whole purpose of what we're doing
Absolutely.
with Forging the Futures in this channel. So, yeah, man, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want us to tag your stuff and say, hey, check out Jordan if you're interested?
Yeah, sure.
shoot.
We'll plug you.
Yeah.
Are you on LinkedIn? or
I'm on LinkedIn.
And your
You
website?
can find me at Jordan Maben at LinkedIn. Website, go to trifectacapital.com. That's with a K in both of them. Trifecta with a K, capital with a K, trying to keep it different.
cool.
And then my real estate business is IPAcapitalinvestments.com.
Cool, man. We'll put that up. You know who to call now if you need some help with your life insurance policy. So awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah.